Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Claudia Henderson Creations, and in today's video I am joining Erin over at Crafty Concepts with Erin in a collaboration. They have been doing this for many months now, and I meant to join them, but you know, life happens, so this is my first month I'm gonna participate. And how this works is, so every third Friday of the month, you will see a video that has to do with a specific sketch, and there will be many more ladies that are joining the collaboration, so you can watch multiple ideas of the same sketch. And we're working at Make It From Your Heart Vol.6, and I had been going through the patterns so far from 1 till 11, and in today's sketch we're gonna use the pattern 12. So this is the layout here, and naturally you can put your own spin on them. There's instruction. Let me remove that little sticker note for me to know which pattern we're at. Okay, so you can see they have 3 pictures that they use on this sketch, which I will change up a little bit because I have at least one more. And other than that, I'm trying to stay pretty true to the sketch. I'm not quite sure yet which papers I'm gonna use, so I went through my stash of papers and grabbed a couple that I think will work with my pictures. And just to show you, so these are the pictures that I plan on scrapbooking today, and these are so 2 4x6s instead of the 5x7 that they had there. And I already matted them, so I have a white mat around them. Then we have this one here, which is a 4x6, and I'm not sure if I matted or not, so we'll see. And then this one is a 4x4. And for my base page, I always go with the white, but then they have a frame around the layout, so I chose to use Espresso as my base, and then I cut the white paper down so I have a nice even frame around it. And then I'm looking at, you know, which paper I'm gonna use to put my photos on. So I'm not sure if it's gonna be the wood grain or the green. That other wood paper that I have, that's all that I have that's left from the sheet, so I'm not sure if this will be enough, so I have to play around a little bit and see. But overall, so the browns and the greens gonna be my colors. And which one I'm gonna use for a strip, like I said, not quite sure. I think I'm gonna go with the green behind my photos, and then use the dark chocolate brown wood as the big piece behind, and then go with the lighter green and plaid paper. So I will see how I can cut those down. The measurements for all of the strips are in the sketchbook, so I just gonna start and cut them down, and I'll see you here in a few. And thankfully, due to video editing, we have all the strips, pretty much all the strips cut down. So I went with the brown paper, but I did cut my gutted my paper, my base page, because you know, everything is covered up by the white piece anyway, so I have extra. And then the strips are pretty much cut to size as it is called for in the sketch. The only difference is I cut mine really short because everything that disappears behind the picture is wasted, so I just cut mine that they fit underneath the picture, but you know, it saves me some paper when you do that. It is a little bit tricky, so if you tend to do this or try to do this at home, make sure you cut or measure twice before you cut, but it's worth it. So yeah, everything pretty much lines up. I think the base is pretty good. Now the question is, how do we decorate before I adhere everything down? So one thing that I grabbed was the frosted forest stem set from Stampin' Up, and this one not only comes with stems, but it also has some really cool dies that I think will work. and it has some stencils. So here are the dies, and there are some standalone dies that can be used without the stamps. Others are meant to be used with the stamping, but I will just cut a couple of those pine trees, and I don't think I will use the stems, but I think I'm gonna use these stencils a little bit, so that might be fun. And they come in two different sizes, so actually there are 6 stencils in there, 3 for each project. So one is 2 different size pines, and they are labeled A, B, and C, and then the other one is for the tree. But I think those pines might work pretty nice up there, and maybe some other place on the page, not quite sure yet. So I have to play around with those a little bit and see what I think will work. The tree, I think the tree I'm gonna leave for another project, but the pines will be on the page for sure. Now, other than that, I will cut a couple of leaves and just a few little embellishments to see what we can do, so we can build our clusters, and nothing fancy, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut those out. All right, so let's start and build up our little pines with those stencils. So these stencils are really great. Since I'm using mine in the middle of nowhere on my page, I'm gonna not only mark my little point there, which all 3 stencils have, but I also draw a line, and it's very lightly, but for me that's the easiest way to line them up, since they're right in the middle of the page there. So the first time I'm gonna use the Rosemary ink from Close to My Heart, and I'm gonna start with the first layer here. And you just have to, if you have removable tape or washi tape, you can tape your stencil down, that way it's not moving on you. I usually just hold it really tight to make sure it's not moving, but if you're stenciling for the first time, that might be helpful. All right, so this is the first one, and now I'm gonna do the little tree right next to it while I'm at it. So doing the same thing, I'm gonna mark that little nook on the side, and I put a line on there to know where to line up the other 2 stencils that we're gonna use. So again, same ink, the Rosemary, and that will be the first layer of our tree. And there you can see, so this is the start. Next, I'm gonna grab the stencil labeled B, and I will move to some pine ink, which is a little bit darker green, and to line them up. So for the big tree, I'm gonna use the notch that I put on that green paper and the top line, and I just use my brush. Again, you have to hold it tight in place or tape it down, and then I'm just using a little bit of the pine ink and go over the stencil. So if you're using your Close to My Heart inks, that's pretty easy. You don't have to push hard. If you're using your Stampin' Up inks, make sure you're not pushing hard into the ink pad because they're very juicy. Maybe just tap them off on some scratch paper before you go on to your project. Okay, for the little tree now, I'm gonna line up again the little notch and the bottom line that I drew, and then we just go over that one quick. And then for the third layer, we're gonna grab the last stencil. And by the way, these stencils easily just wash off under warm water, and then you just tap them dry. Okay, so let's line up the big tree, and I first wanted to use avocado, but it's a very bright green, so I decided to swap it out and use the Jade instead, which is a little bit more it's not a bright color, it's a little bit more yeah, not so loud. And here we go. So this is our last color for this tree, and I think the combination worked pretty well. So you want to have a light, medium, and dark green when you do this, and there you have it. So that looks pretty good. Now I'm just gonna line up the little tree, and again that little nook that we marked, and then the line, and a quick green over this one, and then our trees are done. And I will do the rest off camera because you don't have to watch me doing this over and over again. I will also erase those markers lines that I did with the pencil, and make sure you're using a good eraser. So this Staedtler eraser is really awesome. It removes effortless anything, and as long as you don't push too hard. All right, so here we go, and let me get the rest done, and then I'll be back and we check out how far we are. All right, so I did another set of those trees in the lower left corner, which I did a little bit more heavy-handed than on top, but that's okay. Then the next thing I got are these greetings of the season dies, and these are just really cute little tags that have these dotted you know, little dots around the edges, really cute, that we're gonna use. And then the golden greenery has some really nice twigs and pine branches that are standalone dies that I'm gonna use, so I have to cut a few of those. And then from the frosted forest, I used the pine there with the insert, and also those little trees. And these are from you know, the dies that come with the set, and the stencil in this case. But yeah, I used the bigger one of the two. And as you can see there on the side, I cut out quite a bit in different greens and was playing around with them. But so overall, I think that looks pretty good. The papers are adhered, and I did or most of the papers are adhered. I did went around the papers with some brown ink just to define them a little bit more. And then I use these tags here, and like I said, they have these really tiny little dots around that they perforate. It's really cute, as you can see here. And I chose the blue because I needed a little bit of a pop of color in there, and the sky is blue in the one picture, and then the other one a little bit, so I figured that might be a good color to use. My alternative was like a deep brick red or something, but I think the blue is just the right pop. So my idea is to put two of those tags maybe up there where the trees are, so, and then one down in the left corner, and use some of the little twigs and pine branches that I cut and stuck them behind. This is the longest work on a layout, is just to see how much or how little you want to decorate and what you want to put in there. So this is pretty big, so you will see at the end I will cut down quite a few, shorten them, or just use part of them because it's just getting too much. They're too big, and then it doesn't look good anymore. So this will take a while, and you see me here playing around. But if you ever create your own layouts, just make sure if you cut a few, just cut a few extras. Use different greens in this case. I have a whole case full of leaves that I have extras, and every time we get together for a monthly crop, I know the ladies always go like, you have your green box with the leaves handy, and people are picking through and just, oh, I could use those three, and that's fine. I mean, that's what they're there for, and it's just fun how easy and quickly you can get used to having those on hand. So I always try to make extras, and like I said, here I'm just playing, trying to see if I like it, you know, or if I need to, you know, do some different greens. So it's just a process. So for my title, I used the font that was on my computer for the outline of the letters. So a pen just, you know, did the outline, and then I have an offset feature on my Cricut that would cut the letters on the outside. And to color them in, I used my watercolor pencils to just give them this little blue shine, so it matches the layout better. And Rocky Mountain High, it's a funny story, but every time I see the Rockies, that song from John Denver, Rocky Mountain High, comes into my head. It's just one of these things, so I decided, you know what, it is the Rockies, the Rocky Mountains, so might as well just embed it in our layout here. And the blue is pretty much like the sky, so just a pop of color to make it a little bit more interesting. Now I was thinking about maybe doing the title all the way across, but moving it there, it just doesn't seem to work. So when I put it over there, it just doesn't look good. I like it better when we stack it on the side there, and I make it work when I adhere them down. They will pop up a little bit with dimensionals, but overall I think we're pretty set. I do have still a lot of white space, so I might gonna use my brush and some ink and just go behind the title there a little bit and around the trees just to give it a little bit more definition. And then I might also go through my stash. I think I have a couple of travel stems where we can add some wording on top of the little text that we cut. That might look good. But yeah, now it's just really the question of where do you put your greens and which one and how many. So let me cut those down and see what pleases my eye, and then I come back and show you what else I did. Alright, so I did end up stamping a few things on the page here. So as you can see here, I just did a little bit of ground, which is an old background stamp from Close to My Heart. And I use second generation stamping with the Espresso ink, so it's not so dark. And same with those little sprinkles here and there. I also used a shimmer brush and gave it a little bit shimmer and sprinkles, but the still shot might show this better. I did use my brush to give some overall color, as you can see behind the title there and around the trees, just to make them pop a little bit and get rid of some of the white that you can see everywhere. So overall I think that's a pretty good base. Now we just have to finish off. So if you put the title back here, you can see how this pops nicely off the page, and I will just finish everything else, and I will see you back here in a second so we can go over it. So this is pretty much how I will adhere my embellishments down. So journaling is gonna go here on that side. I do have a couple of stamps that I used on top of my tags, and then some rhinestones or something between the little flags, and I think we're good. So let me put these all down and adhere everything, and then we go over the page one more time. Alright, so here is the entire page, and if you remember, we started out with pattern 12 out of the Make It From Your Heart Vol.6 book, and this was the layout that we were aiming for, and I stick pretty true to the layout. Instead of the 5x7 on the left page, I used two 4x6 pieces. But other than that, everything else is pretty much the same. As for my decoration, so we used multiple different die sets and stencils from Stampin' Up. And one was the frosted forest that we used a stencil. And we also used some of the dies that come in that set. Then I used the golden greenery, which is just a whole bunch of pine branches and little leaves and stems that we use from that one. And then naturally we have the greetings of the season tags that are just a must-have. If you don't have any, these ones you want to get. They're really so pretty. I added some rhinestones there, and then I also grabbed a couple of leaves from my stash because they were just smaller, just to add them to the cluster. But overall, I'm pretty happy how this turned out. Here's our mountain high, Rocky Mountain High with the watercolors. And yeah, all that is left for me is to do some journaling, and I hold it up close so you can see a little bit better the watercolor in those letters, which was really fun. I have to get those out more often. And yeah, other than that, just a journaling and a few things here and there, and this page is done. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you give it a try. Make sure to watch the other ladies that are participating this month, and I hope you find some inspiration for your own layouts. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, so you never miss a video. And I will see you back here next week with a new layout. And you keep crafting. Have a great day and have a great weekend. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.